Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to Issues Unite. So, a few days ago, the administrator appointed to the Biden Ministry of Truth resigned her position. She claimed that she had been subjected to sexist behavior, primarily from the media. While I will not say that there is no truth to her claim, very possible that she was, but in her position, I'm sure that it's not the first time in her career or her life that she has been subjected to this. Still, I have not personally seen anything which had focused on her gender, but rather on opposition to a government board of censorship. While the administration claims that this Ministry of Truth has now been dismantled, it seems highly unlikely that they would cease such an attempt to create an agency for the purpose of government propaganda simply because of the resignation of one person. One should also note that the Biden administration immediately begged her to remain on in some unstated capacity within the presidential cabinet, the most powerful group of people on the planet. Many years back, the government created an agency called the Information Awareness Office. This was part of the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, and it was led by John Poindexter, who was the lead architect of the Iran-Contra affair. Now, if you look, just a moment here, at the emblem for this office, it is chilling. The dystopian, the dystopian aura that it emits will give you chills. It really will. It looks like something out of an old dystopian movie or something like that. Anyway, because of public outcry, this agency was defunded by Congress. However, the role and goal of the agency was merely disseminated among various government agencies, including the software created specifically for the Information Awareness Office. The purpose was total information awareness, monitoring of all electronic communications and transactions, including the information you read or watch and what books you check out of the local library, all of your credit card transactions, everything. And this predated Amazon or online shopping. This was under Reagan, I believe. Anyway, it would encompass all U.S. citizens and would require no warrants to gather your information. Sound familiar? The point is that dismantling the agency does not stop the purpose of the agency from continuing unabated. It just makes it harder to pin down. Beyond that bit of illustrative history, what information you consume is highly important. What information you are allowed to consume is highly important. Back in 2003, there were a number of very popular voices in journalism and media that were silenced because they opposed the Iraq invasion. One of these was Chris Hedges, a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist who was fired from the New York Times because he objected to the Iraq invasion. Another was former Special Forces veteran and U.S. Senator Jesse Ventura, who had a contract for a show on MSNBC, which was bought out and the show canceled for opposing the invasion. Then there was Phil Donahue, a longtime, highly respected journalist who had his own show on MSNBC, and his show had the highest ratings of any show on the network, canceled for opposing the invasion. You were not allowed to hear that viewpoint. I get criticized for the fact that I read, watch, and share information gleaned from Russian news sources. I used to get criticized for watching RT. I still find their reporting to be of the highest journalistic standards, always naming their source or making it clear if information presented has not been verified. They do this without hiding such a statement in a vague single sentence at the end of a report. While they generally present a pro-Russian viewpoint, even that is generally stated in a more objective manner than you'll ever see on Western corporate media. As an example, every report on the Ukraine conflict on RT has the same two paragraphs at the end, which state, Russia attacked the neighboring state in late February, following Ukraine's failure to implement the terms of the Minsk agreements, first signed in 2014, and Moscow's eventual recognition of the Donbas republics of Donetsk and Luhansk. The German and French brokered protocols were designed to give the breakaway regions special status within the Ukrainian state. The Kremlin has since demanded that Ukraine officially declare itself a neutral country that will never join the U.S.-led NATO military bloc. Kiev insists the Russian offensive was completely unprovoked and has denied claims it was planning to retake the two republics by force. Try to find such an unbiased statement anywhere on Western media. You won't find it. Not on corporate media. I also follow news sources from China, Venezuela, and sometimes Iran. I follow news sources from around the world. I find it important to gain information from various sources and hear multiple sides. I cannot get that from American corporate media at all. Our media either act as stenographers for the government or oppose the administration based on ideology with no genuine substance. Both the right media and neoliberal media, we do not have a left media, act as servants and marketing agencies for corporate interests. I also follow and donate to a number of independent media sources, including Redacted, Caitlin Johnstone, Jackson Hinkle, The Gray Zone, Consortium News, Chris Hedges, and Patrick Lancaster. Patrick Lancaster has been reporting from Donbass for 8 years. He lives there, and his wife is from Donetsk. And that is among the various independent sources that I follow. One big problem here is that Americans have gotten accustomed to opinions being reported as news and fact. I have many times criticized unnamed anonymous sources offering no evidence, yet being reported as fact. I have also criticized statements of high confidence from so-called intelligence agencies who have given us such opinions as weapons of mass destruction in Iraq and Russiagate both of which were predictably and thoroughly debunked, yet some Americans still believe in these things as an actual ideology. It is not that facts are not reported in Western media. Sometimes they are. The problem is that weeding out facts can be time-consuming, exhausting, and frustrating. Facts are routinely hidden behind a veil of opinions, statements, and clear biases, which give me a raging headache. While I do say I value objectivity in reporting, that is not entirely possible. I do strive in my own viewpoints to gain some level of objectivity. It is clear that I have my own bias, but that bias is entirely humanitarian in nature. I get attacked for not being more critical of some entities and being more critical of others. There were a few times I grudgingly defended Trump in some sense, though in most cases I was actually defending the truth and our own civil rights. With Trump, Iraq, Russia, and many other subjects, when something happens, I do not even have to bother reading or watching Western media, because I know what they will say. I cannot recall a single time I have been wrong about what they would say in many years. Reading or listening only serves to consistently confirm my prediction. The biggest indicator of what will be presented and how it is presented is to follow the money. Who profits? Once you give that the slightest consideration, you can predict nearly anything on the news that day. Western corporate news is not news. It is not intended to inform you. It is intended to indoctrinate you. It is literally mind control and social engineering. And it is highly successful in that objective. Kind of. Here's what most analysts get wrong about that fact. They think that Western media indoctrination is successful because of deception. That's not true. The actual fact is that the majority of Americans want indoctrination, the cult mindset. They do not tune in to the news to be informed. They tune in for consistent confirmation of their own pre-existing bias, which is typically built upon hatred, division, and violence, just as long as they are not the victims of that violence. Most prefer sitting back and watching the violence from their armchair. Others will encourage and cheer for violence, including war, while then claiming victimization at the same time. It does not matter that they have not been victimized in any way. It does not matter that they willingly sacrifice their own civil rights in the process until they try exercising those rights and find such rights no longer exist in this country. They will ignore the fact that those rights have been violently erased in some countries that are subject to U.S. foreign policy with the viewer's own rabid endorsement. Their bias is also built upon fear, to which the typical American is most literally addicted. From news to cop shows to horror movies to true crime dramas to hyper-theatrical political squabbling, Americans constantly seek out things to be fearful of, then adopt the belief system as nothing short of a religion, which states that all threats, real or imaginary, must be dealt with by force. So what is the real reason that the ministry of truth was dismantled? Because the administration came to the realization that it was not necessary. Most Americans act as their own ministry of truth. Having an agency with such a stated purpose has the opposite of the intended effect. It acts as a wake-up call that we are being served misinformation on a minute-by-minute basis. This is not against the will of the American majority, but because of the will of the American majority. Give most Americans the choice between being informed or being indoctrinated, and they will make the conscious choice of indoctrination. Having an agency which censors our information would act as a target, a focal point for animosity. It would actually incite the emotional mandate to oppose such indoctrination. Since most Americans do not want to oppose their own conscious yearning for indoctrination, they will oppose making that indoctrination official, and especially oppose admitting their own choice, even to themselves. Anyone can criticize the sources of my information all they want. I will still choose to be informed and share actual information along with ethical observations based on facts. I will continue supporting progressive, independent media, which needs all the support we can offer. We do not know how much longer we will have the option to hear those voices. So, share this video or article. Talk about these subjects. If you can, please donate $1 a month or whatever you can to help expand this channel and my presidential campaign. And thank you very much for watching. Have a good day.